Alright, Heidi, I'm back once again. This time I'm going to talk about the Minnesota Vikings, which season has completely derailed and to a point now where they're basically out of contention of the playoff spot. It's mathematically possible, but really it's not going to happen. They just got absolutely demolished, mostly by themselves at home versus the not so impressive Colts, which pretty much just only consist of Andrew Luck and Frank Gore and T.Y. Hilton. And not really anything else is that special about the team. They had a very very poor uh, O line, but you couldn't see it at all. The Vikings pass rush was atrocious. It was horrible. It was beyond my mind how bad the defensive line was. Elson Griffin returned to his usual jump offside, which he has done several key times in this season. I don't know why he can't figure it out better. I know it's a way to gain an edge, but you can't do it on third down. It's simply put terrible. At least if you want to be a captain of a team, which I pretty much assume he is. Then we have some not. I don't even know what to say about the offense anymore. Peterson tried to do what he could. He had a terrible fumble, which, of course, he wanted back. Not good enough. Bad protection of the football, as he has proven several times throughout the seasons with the Vikings. He has a tendency to drop the ball at bad times. I'm thoroughly disappointed with the play selection. Once again, they're not using even the factor of Adrian Peterson once he got back, and when they used it, it worked with the play fakes. The O line was a disaster, and you can say all you want about you did well against the Jaguars. Who the fuck in this league didn't do well against the Jaguars? They are imploding of sadness. They are worse than the Bears, which somehow Vikings also managed to lose to. I can't even fathom that you can lose to the Bears. But well, they were so high after the Jaguars wins, which were a mess of a game because we basically have no threat in the red zone besides Kyle Rudolph, which for some reason can't break a tackle after a reception, but at least in the red zone he's good and for solid third down conversions. Then we got the check down master, Sam Bradford, who has had some bad interceptions in opportune times in the season, which kind of cemented some of the chances Vikings had. He has not been the problem in this one. It's terrible that your offensive coordinator resigns or get fired, or I don't even know what happened to North Turner, but his play calling was non-adaptive, non-realistic, and basically gave up on the team as far as I'm concerned. Shermer did some things. I liked the way they made Bradford move a little more. It just can't be true that this O-line is that bad. That they got a lot of players on the injury reserve, especially guards and tackles for that matter too. But you can't enter this league. You can't have a second string or third string of linemen that are that poor. You can't be really serious about that. You can't have such low talent. You gotta be kidding me. You got to cut them. They wouldn't make the Browns team. They are, without a doubt, the worst O-line in the last at least 10 years in the NFL. They basically shut down the running game, made it non-existent throughout the whole season. It's not like they had one game or 2 games with some decent success. It's like literally zero. Only once the other team was shut out of the waters. they had a chance to do it. Basically, all the points from the Vikings has been small gainers where the offense had to do something, and they did. And that's kind of weird why they can all of a sudden do it. Or once they realized you shouldn't even try to run the football, and the coaches can say whatever they want, but even mathematically it doesn't make sense. Why would you keep it real for the defense? Well, they can stop the run with only like 4 pass rushes. They don't even have to respect you at all. And if you can't even get some decent yards on these kind of situations, then why the fuck are you even trying to run the ball? It doesn't even make sense. You're wasting a vital down. You're basically only having 2 downs to move the ball because you're stuck. And the goddamn penalties is beyond... It's fucked up beyond recognition that you can make so many mental errors as the Vikings do. They're jumping off sides constantly on their own line once there's even remote kind of pressure on them. It's baffling, at least at this level, how you can't, at least I can understand it at the start of the season when you're bringing new guys in, but it can't be true that you're jumping offside in week 12, 13, I don't know what. You can say whatever you want about not being able to play together and mixing up kind of weird combos of guards and tackles and understanding, but that is the fundamental. You can't make this team, to be honest, if you can't do that. It's out of line. And I don't even know. Should we question the O-line coach? I've forgotten what his name is, the Esperano, which they brought in. Kind of. I'm not happy about it at all. It's a shameful performance. Very, very poor. I thought the receivers did okay this season. They can feel like that they did their part to an extent. Feeling massive performance on basically until massive performance throughout the season until the Cowboys game where he kind of threw it. A very, very, very poor performance. Situation in that game with a fumble on the special team. I'm very unsatisfied with the situation going on with the Laquan, the Twit Will, which they basically got nothing out of. And you can talk a lot about development, blah, 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 blah. All the other receivers did, nearly almost everybody besides him in that rookie class has done something in this league. He has done nothing. He had a good touchdown or 2-point conversion or whatever it was in the preseason. Then he had a catch against, I think it was Lions or something like that, which was pretty good. But that is not good enough. And one thing is his routes is not crisp. He's getting some game time. That's at least something. He's doing all right on the special team. But you gotta give him a chance at least to do something. But you can't because of the O-line, or because he's not getting leverage, or because this and this and this. But the fact of the matter of the fact is that he's not getting any kind of targets. And once he did, it was against the Lions, where he basically almost could have given up a pick 6. I think it's kind of telling, and that's a really big problem with this thing going on right now. I don't know what they want to do with him. He is kind of ideal for the Vikings kind of football, where they insist on keeping a short yardage. And I don't know why they're not using him anymore. I think it's an absolute joke to keep Charles Johnson around when the O-line is not working. You can't make any kind of deep shots when you don't have the time to throw it. There's no time for it. Why even having him in there? It doesn't matter. He's a non-factor half of the time. He's dropping balls left and right. And once he's free, it's either overthrown or I don't know what happens this season. I don't understand Charles Johnson, to be honest, in Vikings. I can see his potential, but it doesn't fit the scheme at all. Since Vikings insist on bringing each game down to a wire because they don't want to have a more explosive, they want to have conservative, regular complementary football kind of focus, I don't buy it anymore. I don't care about it anymore because you can say what you want about it, but it's not going to win you that many games. It's the defense who has to win every fucking ball game, and the special teams. And yeah, that's complimentary, but I just want to point out that basically any team who is something in this league has an offense that is worthwhile, and the Vikings has not been, to say the least, worthwhile watching on offense the last 3 years under Mike Zimmer. Maybe last year with AP, but that is kind of it. I don't understand it. Now they don't even have a first round pick. I think you can work it out with Sam Bradford, but you need to bring in something for the O line. It can't be true. I don't know about the conditional trainers either on this Vikings squad. It seems like everybody gets injured really bad. Well, let's talk about the defense. I think the defense did a tremendous job throughout the most of the season. They had some up and down games. Let's see, the Bears game, they were pretty bad. I think to a certain extent, besides the Colts game here, they had mostly solid games. They had some struggles against run first teams. I don't know, understand. I kind of understand why you can't. Just because of the scheme, it's really hard to make it happen. The run defense, it's so focused on basically picking the right setup, and sometimes you're picking a setup that is more focused on shutting down the pass defense, which is my Zimmer's recipe for success, shutting down the pass. But with the cornerback focus, he has had all his career. I think the cornerbacks did all right. You could be happy with Xavier Rhodes, who did until the last 2 games, has been tremendously good. Really stunning performance by him. Can't put much of a finger on him. Still some problems with penalties, but it's not that bad. You can safely put him on the best receiver and feel like you will get something out of it. Where you earlier always thought that would be a penalty each fucking time. Newman always good, solid. Monolin a bit iffy this season. I'm not that happy about his performance. He did way better last year. Mackenzie Alexander. I'm sorry about that one. Really poor performance as well. Basically, the whole rookie draft from the draft from Vikings this season netted 0 positivity in my opinion. Really poor draft for the Vikings in this year at least. We can wait and see the development, but I think there's something wrong with this draft class for the Vikings. There's nothing. Control Brothers, where is he? I don't even know. Chad Greenway did alright, but he's kind of getting too slow. It's his last year. We all know that. It's kind of sad end to it. Anthony Barr, the coach can say that he did what he's doing, his scheme thing. It's not that, but he's not making any kind of big plays. Even when he has the chance, he gets blocked. He's not making the tackles at all. He's missing a lot of tackles. In my opinion, Eric Kendricks, when he's healthy, he's clearly, far and away, the best linebacker, at least the best linebacker on the Vikings squad. He's lights out good. I really enjoy watching him. He can do pretty much everything on this field. He has some mental errors sometimes, but he's definitely a keeper. Daniel Hunter, really great pass rusher. Enjoy him a lot. He has tremendous potential. Tom Johnson, good as well. B-Rob stepped up majorly, really stepped up a lot this season. Um, who else? Everson, always solid, still with some stupid offsides. Well, who is the? Of course who had the last first round pick. What is he called? The cornerback. I've almost forgotten what he's called. Trey Waynes. I think he did all right for most of the season. He still has some problems, 1-on-1, where you can single him out. But as soon as he figures out to keep his hands down, he's going to be he's pretty much like Xavier Rhodes in the starter. And I think he got so much speed that he doesn't need to make these kind of penalties. It's more like he panics, which I don't understand at all. He should be more confident in himself. Who else did? Andrew Sandejo did pretty all right. He's all right. You could, and I think the Vikings need to have a safety, a capable safety besides Harris and what is he called? The rookie 7-rounder. Just about forgotten him. Jaron Curse. I think you need something else than, because it basically is almost all the time Andrew Sandejo or Harrison Smith, and both of them have injury problems throughout the season. Harrison did well in the season. Hell of a lot of tackles. Really good season. Not his problem at all. Who else is worth mentioning? I don't even think. I think it's Kendrick's outstanding year, in my opinion. I'm little concerned about Emmanuel Lemire. I don't understand if he was meant to be like the what his role was entirely. If he was a guy who was going to start, or what they wanted to do with him. I don't understand really. The special team, as always, excellent. Marcus Sherrills basically only had one mistake with a fumble. I can't even remember what game that was, but it wasn't that bad. Several good returns and touchdowns. I think one of the best in the league, at least, besides the Cowboys game. We have what is he called? Jeff Locke, he's done an amazing work, really, really great work. Really a comeback season for him. Cordell Patterson, a flash, did amazing as well this season, both on a offense where he developed himself into a reliable threat against the other opponents, and certainly a keeper as well. You should sign him, at least also just because of his return capability, which pretty much forces the team to kick it out of the ballpark, because his returns are tremendously good. Kai Forbath got in, did all right, at least on the field goals. Been some misses, which has been a lingering problem, but in my opinion, and it is kind of the philosophy that makes this being a problem, at least since you had to cut, what is he called, that silly, stupid-ass kicker. I've just about forgotten him. Which failed miserably in the Seattle game in the playoffs. I've just, god damn it, I've forgotten about him. Brain fart alert. Well, doesn't matter. They had to cut the kicker. He was terrible. Blair Walsh, of course. I'm sorry. He did a terrible job and missed so many extra points. You couldn't take it serious anymore. You should have kicked him after last year, but football is family, apparently. The running backs, besides AP, has been terrible. There's not much more to say. You can say the O-line is bad, but they're basically not making anybody miss. Jared McKinnon, the Jet, has been terrible, not done anything productive. I've loved to see him a lot more as a receiver, getting one-on-one at least, not against 3-on-1 when the tackles and I don't know what has broken down, as per usual. Stefan Diggs did really good this year. I loved him. Loved watching him. He has done anything he could do. He has some few drops, not real drops, but he's really good. Very underrated in my opinion throughout the league. Basically, the Vikings has a problem with the philosophy. With the kicking game is only a problem as long as you're not scoring that many points and you're relying on the goddamn field goals constantly. I would like to have the Vikings set it up another way. Try bringing, I don't know, either give some more the keys more to Sherman, make him a real offensive coordinator, and make him develop a real scheme, because this is a joke, and you can't keep it this way anymore. It's not working. It hasn't worked that well, to be honest. It has been the defense all the way was carried the Vikings last 2 seasons when they have had success. I would prefer them letting it loose a little more, as every expert would pretty much say, but at least something. And they need more tight ends, to be honest. Any team with kind of success has a capable tight end. And yeah, they got Carl Rudolph, but who else? They have David Morgan, the rookie, but he's injured, and nobody really after that. And then they got to develop from a running kind of offense to a more of a passing offense. It can't be true that you want to run it constantly. It's so bad, because at least you got to implement it way better, because basically the team was set up to run this year, and when they couldn't do it, it was so damn clear that they couldn't do it. They couldn't throw it properly because the team wasn't set up for it. The O-line wasn't set up for it. Basically, it was an injury-prone season. It was just terrible. You couldn't do. You can blame the coaches for not developing or making something happen, at least to stop this derailment of the team. But basically, when you have so little talent left, and I didn't even know half of the players they were bringing in. Maybe I just didn't want to remember G.J. Clemmings, which is pretty much the worst player I've seen ever in the league. On an offensive line, he's absolutely horrific. You can talk about process. I don't care. He at least he should be on remain for the next season on the practice squad. I don't want to see him anytime soon. So tight end, they need some more depth. I think running game, you got to really reconsider what you want to do. I don't even know about Adrian Peterson, what they want to do with him. They got to get something out of him, draft picks wise, before he's declining too much. And you can talk about him running to his 40, but I don't believe it. He's in the Hall of Fame. That's not the thing I'm arguing. I'm just thinking from a standpoint right now, they got to get something from some of the players, because they need some draft picks right now. I think they need a safety who's capable to replace. I think if Terrence Newman leaves, stops playing football, they should also keep an eye on the cornerbacks. I think the linebacker spot is really, really, really up in the air as well. You need to find somebody who can replace Chad Greenway. I don't think Lamar is good enough. I think Barr needs to step up, and Kendricks should stay, but he's 100% staying. That's not the thing I'm trying to say, but argue, sorry. But I think you need some more depth on the linebacker spot because there's a wide gap when they either Anthony Barr or Eric Kendricks is out. The front seven is good. That's not really where the chips should fall down on in the draft. I think the receiver spot, there's still something here to be worked on. They need to get Laquan into the system. He can't be true anymore. They need to get rid of Charles Johnson if they want to keep this scheme. I don't care. Adam Thielen is good enough. Cordero is good enough. Stefan Diggs is good enough to be the deep threats. I don't understand Charles Johnson at all. Get rid of him. Who else? Maybe get a Taylor Heineke some playing time here in the last season games and see what he can do. I would like to see Cantrell get some action as well. I think it's time to say goodbye to Joe Berger as well, unless he's stepping up a bit. I'm really iffy about Alex Boone as well. Not happy about his performance, but maybe it has something to do with the players around him. I don't know, but there's not much leverage from his side either. Yeah, I'm kind of torn a little about this because we need some more draft picks. That's for sure. We need some off-season bring in some off-season hope. This is not going to cut it, and the Vikings are playing on such a thin line all the time when they want to win. It's so close, and they need to revisit the coordinators if this is what they want, or they want to change up the philosophy on offense and get something more explosive going. Maybe a little more turnovers. I don't care, as long as you're keeping the defense as a reliable threat, because this can't be true. You got such a good defense and a really good special team, but your offense, either when you could run the ball with AP or when you couldn't this year, it doesn't matter. The offense sucks ass, and you need to get something fresh into this. I needs a new fresh air into this little vicinity of football, because this is not. It's not going to win any Super Bowls when you're going to do it like this, because every game you're going to play is going to be so goddamn close, and you need to have the fortune of the Lions to be able to do it, and you need a way more mobile quarterback to be able to do it as well. I don't even know what the heck is going on with either Teddy Bridgewater, Stafford situation. It's a mess. They definitely got to get rid of Khalil and Sharif Floyd. That's not going to. I don't believe in these two players anymore. But there's so many, and Vikings almost is at the brink of have to dropping some of the key players on defense to make this offense work. Or at least they gotta reconsider that Adrian Peterson contract. It can't be true that he's worth that much, and the Vikings are way too generous with the contracts. So that there's something you could do as well. But I'm just thoroughly unimpressed by especially the O-line, which pretty much cemented the season. I can't understand why they can make the league, any of these O-linemen, some of them at least, and how on earth they can have any kind of self-respect. They're not doing their job, and when they have to do their job, they're failing miserably and trying to overcompensate for knowing that they suck, and so they make even greater mistakes, and it's just a death spiral, which needs to stop. And there's no leader, for Christ's sake, on the offense. It's so piss poor. Give Stefan Diggs that role. He got some swagger. He got something going. I like him, but you need a vocal hit, and I can't find him on the offense. Kind of a team that's based on the defense, and all the identity is on defense, and the offense is a no-show. really poor. Kind of a step back. I really hope that Simmer fixes his health problems and fixes his staff as well, or at least sort it out a little better. And I hope he remains and nothing wild goes on in the off season with the head coaching job. I don't know, maybe. Jesus. Very sad season. At least the end to it. Almost entirely impossible to come back from the devastating losses. You can talk about next man up, but there was no next man up, and the play calling didn't fit the next man up. That's the most disappointing about the season. So yeah, that's kind of it. It's a wrap for the Vikings season. I hope they can bounce back next year. They had all the chances but blew it in some games, and others they simply lacked character on offense, and other games they just fell completely apart. But the defense did their job, the receivers did their job. Bradford did for the most part his job. The O-line did nothing. Kicking team very iffy. Punting really good. Returning very good. D-line did excellent for the most part. The linebackers kind of on off. The secondary did well, did enough at least, and but the run defense was terrible at the end of the year. That's kind of it, to be honest. So, okay, maybe not excellent, the D-line, but at least the pass rush was great. But I would like to see something new from the defense as well, scheme-wise. But that's it for me, and I hope you want to check out other video on my channel. See ya.